Getting things done. If you feel disorganized or overwhelmed, or you don't know where to start doing the various tasks that you have to do, I have some good news. Imagine a personal productivity system that will free you from all this stress. This system that I bring you today will automatically help you to always choose the next task to be done. And this is how you will set priorities and achieve great results. Do you like that? Well, this is the promise of Getting Things Done method, the GTD created by David Allen. GTD can be understood as a flow chart. At the entrance, you can place all the demands that you have in your life, and these demands will go through a series of steps for you to decide what task to do next. So just follow the flow chart and you always know what the next task to be done is, according to a logical order that adapts to each situation in your life. This system has already been used by millions of people around the world. Even though it was created almost 20 years ago, GTD remains the preferred method of personal productivity for so many people. And the reason is quite simple. The system really works. So today's Arata Academy summary will take a closer look on how you can apply GTD to your life. We will understand how to set up your sequence of activities, how to set priorities in your projects, and how to apply tags so you always know the right task to be done. So you will finish this summary ready to take your personal productivity to the next level. And let's start by understanding the basic principle of GTD. All your life's demands must be in a unique and reliable system. The less demands you have in your mind, the better. Basic principle of GTD is to get the demands out of your head and put them all in a single reliable system. It's because our mental energy is attracted to incomplete tasks. It is as if they were open circuits, which are draining our attention because our attention is not where it should be. So when a task is completed, that task leaves our head and stops draining our energy. Our mind is an excellent tool for imagination, for connecting new ideas, creating solutions. But it is a terrible storage tool. When you use your mind to be remembering everything that you have to do, you're causing an overload. Thus, we neither remember everything nor we have free space in the mind to be creating ideas, to be imagining solutions. The way out of this is to put all our written demands in one single place. And to gain efficiency, you will have to do this in one single space, getting all your tasks together, everything that you have to do in your life, organized by project, context, and priority. Imagine what your days will look like with such a system. You'll start your day by opening the system, and then the system automatically tells you everything that you have to do in that particular day. And the best part of all, it already shows you all the tasks in the correct order and with all the details that you need to start acting with high productivity. This can become a reality if you incorporate the 5 steps of the GTD method into your workflow. Collect, process, organize, review, and do. So now let's take a look at each one of these 5 steps in more detail. First step, collect all your demands in inboxes as soon as they appear in your life. That way, you don't risk leaving anything out. The first step of having a reliable system is to collect absolutely all your demands into inboxes. Inboxes are physical or virtual places where you collect all the demands that can appear in your daily life. It can be your mailbox, a physical tray for collecting paper and mail, or it can also be a list in a task manager. At GTD, these inboxes are the place where your life's tasks begin to go through your new flow of productivity. And you can have as many inboxes as you think are necessary, but the ideal thing is to have as little as possible to handle all your demands. A good number is to have 3 inboxes, one single virtual inbox, one physical inbox for your home, and another physical inbox in your office. The first step is to choose a task management application. Ideally, it should be an application that can be installed on your phone and also on your computer, and that synchronizes all your tasks between different devices. And there are hundreds of such applications. Just choose one that has the ability to create multiple lists, that allows you to add repetitive tasks, recurring tasks, and also tasks that allow you to be tagging or having some labels. This task management app will be your virtual inbox. Whenever a new demand arises in your life, you should just write that task down into your task manager inbox. It's simple and quick. The reason for transferring that task to your inbox is just to make your mind calmer. You don't have to be taking mental space worrying about remembering or forgetting that subject. For example, let's say you open the refrigerator, then you saw milk is missing. Very good. So you just take your cell phone and then you quickly write it down. You can even tell your virtual assistant to be writing in your task manager, buy milk, and that's all. Another example, you receive an email from a colleague asking you to do something. You can just take note of that demand, and you can also forward many times that email to your task manager. Your physical inboxes should be the predefined place for you to be placing objects that are reaching you and need some type of an action. Usually these physical inboxes and trays are the places where you place mail and bills received and documents and other physical objects. If you can take a picture with your phone and turn these physical items into information, into virtual notes, into your task manager, that's even better. The important thing is not the specific way how you collect, but rather the attitude of always collecting every information that appears in your life into those inboxes. Don't keep things in your head. Don't try to remember everything that's going to be filling your mind. A task manager is able to store all of this in a much more efficient way than your head. The first time you apply the GTD into your life, you're going to have to do a general collection. You're going to have to think about all areas of your life and start writing down all the tasks of everything you have to do into your inbox. But after that initial collection, the act of collecting all the time should become a habit in your life. Whenever something new appears that requires some action, you write it down into your inbox. The second step will be to process the meaning of each item that you have collected to define what needs to be done with that. That is the second step. Process your inbox, item by item, without leaving anything behind. Separate what is actionable and what is not. After collecting your tasks, the second step of the flow is to process each item that you have collected to understand what are you going to be doing with that next. To process an item, you must ask yourself 3 questions. 1. What is it? Is it actionable? So, what is the next action? The first question is, what is this? It serves only for recognition, and sometimes we collect an item in the inbox that we think is important, but when we're going actually to process, well, we realize it was not so important. So the essential question is this item actionable? Because if the answer is no, you have 3 things to do. You can discard, you can incubate, or you can keep it for later, for reference. If the item is not actionable, and there is nothing for you to be doing with that, just delete it from your task manager. It is not a task. For example, imagine that you wrote, yesterday, the price of gold went down. It fell by 10%. Okay, but so what? Are you going to invest in gold? Does this information have any practical aspect that deserves a specific action on your side? In fact, you see, you shouldn't even have written something that is not actionable. With practice, then you will notice when certain information is not really actionable. If there is no action that is needed now, you can move that item to another list called Someday Maybe. This list will keep incubated ideas, which in the future may turn into action. The Someday Maybe list stores tasks that you're not going to do now, and you're also not sure when or if are you going to do in the future. If the item has not been discarded and it will not become an action in the future, you can keep it for reference only. For example, let's say that you took a medical exam and you have a picture of your result and you put it in your inbox. There is no action for you to be taking with that, but you may want to consult this data in the future. Then simply move that item into a reference list. The reference list must be a file storage system different from your task manager. It's another place. And after all, we're not dealing with a task. The question that will change your personal productivity is going to be, what is the next action? The essential core of a good productivity system is to tell what the next task should be. In GTD, this question is asked when you're processing. So you first collected a demand in your inbox and you started processing it and you understood, yes, the item is actionable. Now you need to ask yourself, what is the next action? This answer can take you 2 ways. If the next action is a task that you need to do once, or you can move that into a list of single tasks. But if the next action requires several steps to be accomplished. It has to be transformed into a project. A project is any task that needs more than one step to be completed. For example, let's say you took notes that you need to change your glasses. This task is not completed in one single action. You need to go to the optic shop, you need to buy new glasses. This task is actually a project. It needs several steps to be carried out. You need to make an appointment, to go to the eye doctor, to make sure that you do the exams, get the prescription for the glasses. Then you go to the optician, to the shop, you order the glasses, you wait for the glasses to be ready. Then you go back to the optician to get the glasses, and then you need to check if the lenses are good. See, what seemed in the beginning to be a very simple task is actually a sequence of steps that you need to be taken. So now you're going to have a list of a project that you have in your task manager, and then you're going to be adding change the glasses, that's the name of the project, and then within this project you're going to list all the little steps you need to be taken to be able to complete the project of changing your glasses. Each step of this is a unique action. It's something that can really be done. The ideal thing is to break all tasks into small steps that can be taken in practice, because this will avoid the procrastination and facilitates the execution of tasks. If the task takes less than 2 minutes to complete, it's not even worth writing down into the system, just do it right away. So at this stage of processing, if you saw a task that is actionable and takes less than 2 minutes to do, just do it right away. It is such a simple and fast task that does not even deserve to be placed in your task manager. The time it will take you to be writing it down and organizing that, it is greater than the time that it will actually take for you to be performing the task. Now, if the task takes more than 2 minutes, you have two ways to go. You can delegate or you can defer. Tasks that do not need to be done by you or cannot be done by you should be delegated. For example, let's say that in your work you need to do a report with a detailed analysis of information, but you have an intern who can do a lot of those things for you. Then you delegate that activity to the intern and advise on what is the most important data that he has to be examining. Then you simply delegate the task for whoever is able to do that. Tasks that you delegate to others should be listed in a list in your task manager called waiting on hold. Here is where you're going to write down all the tasks that you have delegated and to whom that you delegated these tasks. This is how you keep track of the things, so you don't forget to be checking how these tasks are going. If it is necessary, you can also note down the date the person committed to be performing that task. So when the date arrives, well, your task manager will warn you, and then you can check with the person how things are going. For the tasks that cannot be delegated, now you have two options. If the task has a certain date to be done, it should be placed on a list in your task manager called calendar. This list must be exclusive for the tasks that can be done only on that day. This way, you're going to be setting aside a specific block of time to be handling that task. Now, beware of the temptation for you to be assigning a specific date for all your tasks. If you do this, there is a high risk of becoming frustrated and overwhelmed when you are unable to handle things and they accumulate multiple commitments that you have past the due date. For example, reading a book or buying milk or cleaning the garden. These are not really tasks that require booking a specific time and date in your calendar. For these tasks, you can just follow simply the sequence of actions that you need to do, the next actions to be done, and without having to dedicate a special time for that. Now, returning to the example of the glasses, your appointment with the eye doctor is a task that can only be performed on that specific day and time of your scheduled appointment. On the other hand, you may want to go to an optic shop whenever you're available. So this is not the type of task that should be included in your calendar list. Those tasks that don't have a specific date to be done should be on a list of next actions for each project. So you will have a list of next steps to be taken within each project to be completing within each of these projects. The third step is to organize your tasks in context, so you always know what to do in any situation in your life. Contexts serve as filters for action. Organizing is the third step in the GTD flow after the collect and process steps. At this stage of organization, you will need to make sure that all your lists are ready according to what you have processed. Recalling, the lists are delete, sometime maybe, reference, on hold, calendar, and projects with next actions. It is also in the organize stage that you must add context tags to each one of your tasks. Think of these tags as filters that will tell you exactly what you need to do in each situation in your life. We talked about this in the episode 137 of the Hello, Say Arata series. Basically, you need to take each task that you have listed among the next actions of a project and add tags for places, time available, available energy, and priority. So for example, in your list of tasks to be changing glasses, you need to make an appointment, and that appointment can only be done when you have your phone available, so you can make a call. Therefore, that task must be labeled with the tag phone. If you have a task that can only be done in a specific place, that task should be labeled with the tag of that specific place. In some task managers, you can even have a geolocation tag, so whenever you are in that particular place, your phone will be displaying notifications to remind you, hey, you are here, there are some tasks that you can only do in this particular place. And with this, you can filter your tasks according to the context where you are in. For example, when you're on the phone, you can filter all the tasks that have the label phone, and then you can do all of them. In addition to the place, you can also add tags for available time. You can check whether your task will take a long time or a short time to complete. And in order to do that, you can use markers with the number of minutes that you estimate this task will be taking you. If you are not really able to do precise calculations, you can just make generic labels such as S, M, and L, small, medium, large, for example. The same thing can be done for tasks that require little or a lot of energy from your side. And finally, you can mark tasks with priorities from 1 to 4. Priority number 1 is what is urgent and important. Priority 2 is what is not urgent, but it is important. Priority 3 is what is urgent, but it's not really important. And priority 4, neither urgent nor important. The advantage of this is that you can combine the tags so you always find the right task for the right time. For example, imagine that you are at home. You have 15 minutes available before you go somewhere, and then you can filter the tasks with the labels home and N for medium time. The fourth step is to review your lists to keep the system always reliable. You have to collect something every day and review everything once a week. The only way you can reduce the stress of having to remember everything that you have to do is to trust your productivity system to be reliable. And to do this, you need to do two things. You have to collect everything that appears in your life in that system, and you also need to review it once a week to ensure everything is in its place. In your daily life, the act of collecting is quite simple. Whenever a new demand appears in front of you, well, just throw it in your inbox. This can be done very quickly without major complications. Do you run out of milk at home? Very simple. Just write in your task manager, or you can tell the phone, buy milk. And that's all. This buy milk demand now is there in your inbox. You can do this every day whenever a new task arises for you. But when you're collecting, you're not really worrying about the details. You're not putting labels to buy milk at the supermarket when I have X many minutes, when I have this much energy. No. This is going to be done later in the weekly review in the fifth stage of the GTD. The weekly review is a step that you must do in the right day, time, and procedure. The recommendation is that you do it Friday afternoon to end your week and start a new rest period of your weekend with a free and fresh mind. But you can do also any other day, just as long as it fits your routine best. The script is a kind of a checklist in which you're going to be defining the points that you will make during the weekly review. This roadmap should start with emptying your inboxes. You have to take each item in the order where they appear, and then you process the question of process and organize steps. And remember, your first task was to be asking, what is this? Is it actionable? If not, just delete it or put into the someday or maybe list or save it to your reference list. Now you ask yourself, what is the next action? And then you can pull a list of separate tasks, individual tasks, or you put this into a project or into the calendar list. And when you do that, you also tag according to the contexts of place, time available, energy available, and priority. After emptying your inboxes, now you're going to have other items on your weekly review script. For example, you can check your bank account statement. You can prepare the shopping list for the next week. You can schedule the next events of the week. anything that makes sense for your life and leaves you with the feeling that everything is up to date, everything is in order. The fifth step is to perform only the next action. From task to task, you see your big dreams come true. The fifth and last of the GTD's 5 stages is doing. A productivity system only makes sense if you really do what you plan to do. There is no point in having everything so organized in a reliable system that does not actually result in practical action. So to do this, you must focus only on performing the next task. That is all that you need. You forget the big picture, you forget all the difficulties of the day, the pile of tasks that are waiting for you. No, just focus on the next action. With everything that you have in hand now, this is going to be very easy. Your system is practically telling you what has to be done next, why you should focus. The most productive way to do this is to look at the manager for priority 1 tasks that can be done where you are right now. For example, let's say that you are in the office, okay? So what are the tasks of priority 1 in the office? You can filter the manager and it will show you what to do next in that place. Then you can refine the filter combining other available time markers or energy available markers. What are the tasks of priority 1 in the office that you can do, for example, in 30 minutes? When you make filters like that, you take out of the way everything that cannot be done at the moment. They are not relevant right now, they're not important. This makes it so much easier for you to be focusing on the next step. Your day-to-day should focus on this doing step. Remember, your goal is not to polish the system and organize tasks and making everything beautiful. No, your goal is to produce. So leave the organization for the weekly review. If something new appears, just collect it into the inbox, and that's all. Leave it to organize later into the weekly review, but into your daily life, just focus on doing what has to be done. When properly implemented, GTD can be the difference between having stressful days and extremely productive days. This system can put an end to that feeling that you can't handle everything that you have to do. GTD does not solve all the productivity problems that you have, but it is an excellent start to put everything in place, to give you the opportunity to start producing better. One of the points that GTD does not really address, for example, is time management. How can you be doing all the things you have to do, organizing the tasks in order to optimize the time that you have for each day? And to deepen this subject, I prepared a special class on Productivity Ninja course just talking about time management. And you can see this special class right now by visiting arata.se/time management.